Hello everyone, it's your buddy Rorschach here. So the question then is this: did Batman kill the Joker at the end of this book here, the Killing Joke? And I'll give you the answer to that question, at least my personal opinion on it, and based on the events of the book, in just a couple of minutes. First off, I want to go through the book and mention a couple of points of interest that I noted after rereading the book for the first time in about 25 years. So that's a very iconic image there on the front cover, isn't it there? So this book has definitely endured, culturally speaking. And there's an image of the Joker laughing. Let me see if I can find that, which will be very familiar to everyone, not just, you know, long-term comic book geek types like myself. Where are you, Joker? There's the image. Of course, now I want to find it. I can't find it. So it goes. It's that image there, basically, that is repeated in the comic book, and I'll come across it, no doubt, in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so lots of iconic images which has endured, and the fairgrounds scene as well. Everyone remembers the fairgrounds scene. If they don't, even if they don't particularly remember the exact circumstances of what happened at the fairgrounds, you know that the Killing Joke had something to do with a fairground. So I'm not going to go through the book, you know, point by point, panel by panel. I'm just going to mention a couple of things that caught my interest reading the book anew in 2018. Yeah, the last time I read it would have been probably, let me think, probably the early 1990s, and I would have read a library book version of it, because at the time I would not have been able to afford the full novel. It's a bit of a shame really that today, when I've got the money to splash the cash and buy these books, there isn't that many books that I actually want to buy, because the standard of comic book storytelling today and the lack of ideological diversity is a real turn off to me. Somebody who buys single issued comic books, I don't want to buy the trade paperback collections, just because they're not good enough. They're certainly not good enough to, you know, get a deluxe version like this with a hardcover. Anyway, so the first point of interest was the relationship between Joker and his wife. So this is a Joker origin story here, right? So this is the truth about the Joker, or is it? Brian Bollard says something about that at the end of the book, and I'll go through that in just a couple of minutes. So we have the Joker character before he was the Joker. He's a failed stand-up comedian, and he's feeling very frustrated because he can't be the provider that his pregnant wife needs him to be. There he is. Very sad man. He's a failure. And that's why he decides to get involved in crime to bring some money home to the wife. And she says this to him: I still love you. You know, job or no job, you're good in the sack, and you know how to make me laugh. I can never imagine a lady saying to a man in the comic book today that you're good in the sack. It stood out to me. And it also stood out to me that a lady would be in the position in the comic book today as a vulnerable, pregnant, you know, she's not barefooted. No, she's not barefoot. She's got some slippers on. But in that position where she needs a man, that's the bigger point really I'm trying to make here. That a woman who's pregnant needs a man, rather than running to, well, the welfare state, which is so common today. I know lots of guys in my real life who've unfortunately been with a young lady. The lady's got pregnant. The baby's arrived. Then a couple of years later, the man is discarded, and the lady and the kiddie gets a council estate. You know, a council estate, not the entire estate. Gets a council house, or gets an apartment, gets somewhere to live, all paid for by working people. You know, that's all the government does, is it steals money through taxation and handles it out. So yeah, the modern matriarchal single mom welfare state has replaced the figure of the provider man for a tick in the right box when it comes to voting time. And all parties are the same, so they don't say that I'm a conservative, I'm a UKIP, you know, I'm whatever, because all the parties go along with this the welfare state culture that we've got today. And the overriding unanimous message from all political parties today is, ladies, you can be strong, independent, and you don't need no man. And by strong and independent, they of course just mean we're going to pay for all the stuff that people like this used to pay for. I just, because this was released in 1988, and because so much has changed in our culture in terms of the growth of the welfare state, I can never see a young lady being portrayed like this, and I can never see a young man being portrayed like this either, because she would say to him, rather than good in the sack, she would say, well, does it really matter, Joker, if you bring home the bacon or not, because I can just run to big mommy government and they'll pay for all the stuff anyway. Know what I mean? Okay, I think I've laboured the point there, so let's move on. The victimisation of Barbara Gordon. She gets shot in, it looks like the hip area there, doesn't it? Is it maybe the hip? Stomach, hip, lower stomach. And automatically, the Joker knows that her spine appears to be damaged. He wouldn't know that. That stood out to me. How do you know you've broken her back? You are a failed comedian, Joker. You're not a soldier. You've got no experience of shooting people. I don't understand how he would know by shooting someone like that she's automatically got a broken back. He's just looking at her lying there, holding her stomach. Yeah, broken back, instant diagnosis, which turns out to be correct. Yeah, that didn't ring as particularly convincingly realistic to me. So the Joker is obviously doing this to Barbara Gordon to drive her dad, Commissioner Gordon, into a state of insanity, mirroring his own. So we go back to his past again here, and they show you how the Joker turned from, it's pretty much a low IQ beta male into the high IQ criminal mastermind that he is today. Again, that doesn't make any sense to me, because if you look at these panels here, as with the Joker talking with these basically, you call them hoods, wouldn't you? Hoodlums. They're conning him into doing something, right? Wearing the silly red hood there, and it's obviously a trap, but he's walking straight into it anyway. So I don't understand why he's so dumb here, and yet when he turns into the Joker, it becomes so high IQ, so it's a elevated level that he can compete with somebody like Bruce Wayne, who is a successful billionaire businessman. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense, does it? If you think that Joker is supposed to be a failed comedian who can't even provide for his wife, and then when he goes mad, all of a sudden he's competing, on level terms with a billionaire, and he's been doing so for the last 30 odd years. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that madness would increase your IQ level. That's what I'm trying to say here. And also the victimisation of the female characters, it's a little bit too real to ever appear in comic books today, as is the victimisation of her dad as well, with the gimpy collar there. I don't think you'd see this today, and you certainly wouldn't see this. Where is it? The images of Barbara Gordon, which have been shown to her dad, Commissioner Gordon, in an attempt to make him mad. Now, you would not be able to show females being victimised like this in the pages of comic books today. Even though, the bad guys are supposed to be bad, they're not really supposed to be convincingly bad. They're supposed to be Kylo Ren bad, A bad guy, but not somebody who's truly threatening to the female readers and female viewers. That's how I see villains in contemporary culture today. They don't seem particularly threatening to me. Perhaps it's because the real world villains, and we know who they are, well, they're encroaching upon European territory as we speak. Well, they have been for the last few years, but I don't want to get, waylaid into a political speech here. So let's get back to the book. So, Joker, we see him engaged in this criminal activity, which leads him into jumping into loads of chemicals. Yeah, we know the story, and turn into who we know he is today. Who we know him as today. So perhaps there was something more in the chemicals other than something that changes personal appearance, because it appears to increase the IQ level as well. I think I'd quite happily take a dip in the pool if it bumped an extra 20 points onto my IQ level. Would you? There's a question for you before I get to the question at the end of this, whatever this video is, this analysis of whether I think Batman killed the Joker or not. Would you person listening to this video, jump into a chemical fat if it increased I certainly need it. If it increased your IQ level, but turned you a little bit mad as well. Let me know. Would you take the madness for the extra IQ points? Okay, so from there we have the final showdown, and it's a pretty short comic book actually. It was a one shot in 1988. It's a bit longer than the regular one shot you get today. I don't know if they could duplicate this format in 2018, but they'd have to obviously tame it down with the torture stuff and the victimization of the female characters. That's for sure. Anyway, so this is probably one of the most important panels of the book, where Jim Gordon has not been driven into insanity. He's still very much a sane man who believes in law and order, and he says to Batman, I want him brought in, and I want him brought in by the book. So at this point on, the Joker is lost. The Joker was just trying to prove a point, and the point being that for any man, any normal average man, which is why he picked Jim Gordon, if a really bad thing happens to that man, you might flip and turn just as bad as me, the Joker. So the Joker is really justifying his own bad actions, saying, I didn't really have any agency in the choices that I made. It was because of the bad things that happened to me. That's quite a deep philosophical point when you think about it, isn't it, really? It's a point about agency. And if you talk about politics in the modern world today, with the left doing what they do with their various victim groups on the plantation, it's the agency which they're constantly stripping away from them. But, you know, smarter people have talked about that in more depth than me, so I won't go into it now. So this is all about agency. This is all about choice. This is about free will. And the Joker loses because Batman believes in, well, not just law and order, not just in status and not that kind of stuff, but he believes in human choice, human free will, rather than the nihilism which is represented by the Joker. The Joker doesn't believe in anything. He thinks that the world is a black, evil, meaningless place, so you might as well go crazy. Batman, of course, who had a terrible thing happen to him at an early age, is trying to bring some goodness into the world. So that's the contrast between the Joker and the Batman. That's why they're, you know, the light and dark side, really. Both men traumatized. Batman decided to use his trauma to make the world a better place, and Joker instead embraced nihilism and just wanted to bring chaos into the world. So let's get to the end of the book, shall we? So Joker realises that he's lost, and what he's talking about was a load of Jordan Peterson nonsense. Just words, Joker. Just words. No, it's not real. Not real, Jordan. I've got a very clean room at the moment. Now I won't go on about Jordan Peterson. So the Joker's been proven that Batman has proven that what the Joker was trying to prove as being a thing is not actually a thing at all. And the only person to blame for the Joker's descent into madness is the Joker himself. Full agency, Mr. Joker. It's your fault. And if you knew about Bruce, the Batman standing behind you, that would further emphasise his victory. But Bruce doesn't bring that up. Here we go then with the killing joke at the end of the book. Do I think, I'm going to answer the question posed at the beginning of this video and probably the title of the video as well. Do I think that Batman kills the Joker here? He appears to be strangling him, doesn't he? Well, the answer to the question is no. Batman does not kill the Joker because he doesn't need to kill the Joker. Batman has already won. He's proved the Joker's point to be wrong, and he's proved that it's not the events of the world that make the man. It's how the man responds to the events that the world will, whether you like it or not, throw in your face, fart in your face on a regular basis. And Bruce, of course, knows that himself. So he's got no motivation for strangling the Joker, because if he strangles the Joker, he gives in to nihilism and meaninglessness himself. And he's not going to do that because the entire point of the book was proving the Joker wrong. So no, Batman did not kill the Joker at the end of the book. So there we go. I just want to mention something that Brian Bollard says here about the origin story, because this is pretty interesting, you know, just before I wrap up the video. I, for instance, would never have chosen to reveal a Joker origin. I think of this as just one of a number of possible origin stories manifesting itself in the Joker's fevered brain. That makes a lot of sense to me, right? Because of the beta male nature of the man portrayed as the Joker before he became the Joker, and also his limited intellectual scope or ability to realise that he's been set up there. If this man was a beta male version of the Joker, he still have the IQ and he still be able to understand that he's being set up by these hoodlums. Would you trust that guy? Would you wear that mask if he told you to? No, you're obviously being set up, aren't you? I think the Joker would have understood that. So I think that what Brian Bollard is saying at the end of the book is that this story is not really the backstory of the Joker. It's just one of the many backstories that are swimming around that crazed, fevered brain of his, and he himself probably doesn't even know what the truth is. Because remember, if you're a crazy person, you're not just being crazy and lying to the world. The main person that you're being crazy with and deceiving and deluding and messing with is yourself. So yeah, I see this book not as an origin story for the Joker. What I see this is a Joker's failed attempt at bringing nihilism to the world, Batman defeating it, and Joker just descending once more into madness because he will not take personal responsibility for some of the actions that he chose in his perhaps early life, which we should never really truly find out about, which made him into the crazy person that he is today. So that's probably the craziest thing about the Joker, in my opinion, in that he doesn't take personal responsibility for the things that he actually does. Instead prefers to say, well, nothing has any meaning. I'm a crazy man in a crazy world, so yeah, let's be nihilistic and evil. And Batman, of course, yeah, like I said a minute ago, the opposite sides of the coin. He recognises that there is free will, and you don't have to be a crazy guy, no matter how crazy the world around you is. And I know that more than anybody else living in the UK right now, with Brexit not happening and none of our politicians really representing the indigenous peoples. But that's a different topic for a different time. So I'll conclude the video analysis. That sounds so pompous saying that, but that's what the video was. I was just analysing whether or not Batman killed Joker at the end of the book. I don't think that he did. I think I've explained quite well why I've got that opinion. But what is yours? Please let me know in the comments down below. And I look forward to hearing what you've got to say. So thanks for checking out the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you'd be so kind. Why so serious? Take care, everyone. I'll be back as always later. See you guys.